Fantasy Football Show. My name is Danny Heifetz, and I am joined by Danny Kelly and Craig Horlbeck. And today we are going through our must-add players after week 4. Here's how it works. We're going to go position by position, and then we're all going to pick our favorite player at that position. But if any of us pick the same player, we're going to do a trivia tiebreaker to just figure out who gets the player, and then those guys have to pick different players. If you lose, it's not that complicated. You will figure it out. If you have trivia questions you want to send us about clouds or Jupiter, well, that was in the past, but like anything that comes up today that you think is weird, you want to email us about ringerfantasyfootball@gmail.com. Email us. Just, it's got to be an amount. We got to put closest to the pin here. So a number, a year, a date, an amount, whatever. Email us at ringerfantasyfootball@gmail.com. And obviously emails fantasy courts too. We do that. That's our Wednesday podcast, but we actually go live now on YouTube as well on Tuesday nights. So email us your fantasy courts and of course any actual football questions you have, Sunday categories for the Sunday show, whatever you want for the Daily Double. Okay. Ringerfantasyfootball@gmail. Boom. We did all that. All right. So just getting to this week, 2 notes still. Monday Night Football has not happened yet. We're recording this Monday, and the Lions and the Seahawks and the Dolphins and the Titans have not played yet. So keep that in mind. And if anything crazy happens in that, don't hold us accountable. And the bye weeks are here. Is that a little crazy, Craig? Titans, Lions, Eagles, Chargers are on bye. We're already here.
I know, and it came at a horrible time because a lot of good players got hurt this week.
Yep. It's like setting some pretty awful lineups looking ahead to week 5 already. We're already back.
Fantasy begins in week 5 with the bye weeks.
I mean, if you just think about there are not a lot of season-ending, knock on wood, season-ending injuries right now. Like, there's definitely been years in past where, like, injuries are ruining the season. But for fantasy purposes, you got, like, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and Deebo Samuel and Christian McCaffrey and then George Kittle. And then you have, like, Chris Olave got banged up at practice this week and then he ended up playing. And you got, like, Tyreek Hill playing with the Dolphins. And, like all the I know there's, like, a bunch of receivers I didn't hit, but, like, there are so many injuries that I feel like it's almost normal to look around your leagues and see, like, people with 3 or 4 people on their bench who are just like really top 6 picks that just aren't playing.
Yeah, tossing Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, obviously Rashee Rice recently. It's a bloodbath out there. All the Packers receivers when Jordan Love went down, like it's been really tough for the first 4 weeks at receiver.
All right, so let's just jump into it. Running back, DK, who is your number 1 running back waiver ad entering week 5?
I think I'm going to have to go with Kareem Hunt for the Chiefs. He came in, they signed him to their practice squad, got him up to speed over the course of like a week. And then he came in this last week and ultimately became sort of their starter. Carson Steele, it helped that Carson Steele lost a fumble on his first carry of the game and then only saw 1 touch for the rest of the game. We hardly knew you, Carson Steele. Maybe he'll come back and they'll keep playing him, but I thought Hunt looked pretty good. 14 carries, 69 yards, 2 catches for 16 yards. He played 43% of the snaps, got 60% of the rushes, had a little bit of burst. So I think he's going to be the starter for the short term until they get Pacheco back. But he would be, I think, at least worth grabbing and seeing how that all goes.
Do you think Carson Steele's very limited career, who knows if he is on a team next year, do you think his very limited time in the NFL was worth missing his sister's wedding?
Yes, okay. I do.
I think, because I think that Carson Steele is going to be the shortest lived career ever that he actually will be able to have an athlete podcast. Because between the alligator, the hair, he's got the name of a porn star. Like, I feel like he's got a lot going for him.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Like looking back on that Sunday, what will people remember first in that family? Is it like Carson Steele's best game of his career or his sister's nuptials? I don't know. Yeah.
Well, the game check can probably pay for the wedding, so
it made it unique. It made it a unique experience, memorable.
It made it all about you, which is great.
That's what you want.
Just exactly. Forget your sister's wedding. Like, everyone's watching you on Sunday Night Football. So Carson Steele, so DK, you're taking Kareem Hunt. Craig, is that who you had number 1?
No, I had Kareem Hunt number 2. Maybe this is dumb. For right now, so Jonathan Taylor on the Colts sprained his ankle. It is a high ankle sprain, but now it's being characterized as a mild high ankle sprain, which I think is kind of an oxymoron. I thought high ankle sprains were the worst version of an ankle sprain, but I guess it's just literally where on the ankle it sprains, and I guess it was a mild version of that. I don't know. We don't exactly know if he's playing.
You thought a high ankle was a really bad ankle sprain?
I thought when you sprain your ankle, when it is a high ankle sprain, those typically are worse for you than a low ankle sprain.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's easier to bounce back from a low ankle sprain than a high ankle sprain, but it's a mild high ankle sprain. So again, it's like bad, but also not that bad.
Upper middle tier ankle sprain.
Yeah. So
or lower upper tier.
Joe Mixon kind of in week 2 seemed to have suffered something similar, a mild high ankle sprain. He then missed 2 weeks. So I think I'm going to go with Trey Sermon. If Trey Sermon plays and JT is out, He's the only other running back on this team who has a carry this season. And the offensive line's been really good this year. Jonathan Taylor has sneaky been great. He's the RB6 on the season. They're playing the Jags. So, yeah, I don't know. I think if I was just going for 1 week or two, I think like Trey Sermon could get 20 carries.
That's so interesting because I actually feel like I might go a third direction. And I kind of like Tyler Allgeier for the Falcons. He got more carries than Bijan Robinson. And that's one of those things where it's like, I don't even know if that will continue or anything. But I mean, if Tyler Allgeier is just straight up like co-leading a backfield with Bijan Robinson, and you could like flex him if you want each week. And then on top of it, if Bijan Robinson gets hurt, Tyler Allgeier would be a top 5, top 10 running back each week.
This is coming off you just saying you never wanted an Atlanta Falcon ever again.
I said I never wanted to draft one.
Okay. He's fine on waivers.
I did say,
it was a technicality,
waivers,
Craig.
Waivers,
I think if anything, it proves the point because if you drafted Bijan in the first round and then some person just adds Tyler Allgeier, like you feel like an idiot. So if anything,
so you would never
stronger.
draft Tyler Allgeier, but you would pick him up on waivers.
I feel like Brees and Bijan have the same problem, and it's that their backup is too good. They need to do the Browns thing and get rid of their backups. Get them to change teams somehow.
We're also cutting Braylon Allen out of this exercise from the Jets just because I think he's rostered a little too many leagues, but he's right there too. I feel like probably would take Braylon Allen ahead of these guys too, right? If he was there.
Yes.
So Braylon Allen's there.
And Jonathan Brooks, by the way, who has just started coming back from his, he's on the PUP list, but it sounds like he's getting close to finishing that. So I would say those guys are also included here, but we eliminated them because the rostership is a little bit too high at this point. But keep them in mind if you're going through your waivers and they're out there.
I mean,
keep them in mind. If we're saying if they're there, get them first.
Use them first. Yeah.
The Allgeier stats are way better than Bijan. What's funny, like Allgeier has higher first down rate, yards per carry, yards after contact per carry. Higher avoided tackle rate, more carries of 10 yards or more, despite having fewer carries. Like, I feel like this always happens where there's like a backup who just has way better stats than the starter and nobody knows what to do.
I don't know what's happening there, but I'm going to let it happen on my bench. That's kind of my attitude with Tyler.
On your bench, I'm adding these guys as though I'm starting them next week.
Same.
Yeah, no, I mean, you can play them too. But like, here's my question for DK. I agree with Craig that like in terms of who might get the most carries this week, Trey Sermon, if Jonathan Taylor is out. But Trey Sermon does he suck?
I mean, is Kareem Hunt good?
I thought he looked pretty good. He has a history of being good. He's a little old.
That was 7 years ago.
He's fresh, Craig. He's fresh.
He has concepts of being good.
Yeah. You know who the last person to run for 1,000 yards on this list was? Tyler Allgeier.
Okay.
You know who's never ran for 1,000 yards? Bijan Robinson.
Yeah.
Just saying.
One thing. So the other thing I think that the note that we need to add here is Bijan Robinson got a shoulder injury during practice last week. And so that could have been a part of the reason why he wasn't utilized as heavily as he was in weeks 1 and 2, or 1 through 3, I should say. And so I don't know. I think all of these are solid choices with some upside and some downside. And I don't know. I still would go with Kareem Hunt. Frankly, I thought he looked good and he's, I think, going to be the lead guy in this offense until Pacheco comes back. But I see your guys' points.
We should sort out the high T here. I think that like the high T is Tyler Allgeier is like a Braylon Allen in that they are flex. They have the flex appeal of you can play them. They might get you double digit points or a touchdown. It's probably not going to be incredible. But if Breece Hall goes down, Braylon Allen's like a top 10 running back. If Bijan Robinson goes down, Tyler Allgeier's a top 10 running back. So if you're kind of cruising, you just want to add like the rich get richer. That's a guy I think that I would target. If you are, to Craig's point, if you are one of those teams that you have Devontae Smith and Deebo Samuel and Cooper Kupp and Raheem Mostert, and like you're just like literally you're running out of people to play, then like Trey Sermon, if they're out there,
if you have Jonathan Taylor,
like, and you're like, I literally need to field a team. Like Trey Sermon is like an absolute like plug in. If Jonathan Taylor misses this week, Trey Sermon you can like plug and play most likely. And then to DK's point, I think Kareem Hunt. I would take Kareem Hunt over Trey Sermon though, because I think Kareem Hunt is probably just as much opportunity, as Trey Sermon this week. But I think Kareem Hunt will probably has a better shot to hold on to the job for like a longer time frame. So I think I basically Carson Steele fumbled in Sunday Night Football, and then he fumbled again, and they got immediately pulled. And I'm wondering if it's going to be Kareem Hunt back to like a weird timeshare of Pirine, Steele, and Hunt, or to DK's point, if Andy Reid's like, I gave the rookie a second chance, he fumbled again, like I'm done. And if he pulls the plug, DK is going to win this thing running away with Kareem Hunt. And I think that's the question. So I agree that if I'm going to regret one of these, I bet I regret not taking Kareem Hunt. But I think it speaks to, frankly, I don't know if you guys agree. I think this is a better week on waivers than the past couple weeks. I think this is like an important week on waivers. There's a lot of good players.
Yeah.
Some weeks we disagree because there's bad people and we can't pick. I think this week it's actually a very strong group.
Bad people.
There's even, I mean, I had Kareem Hunt was number 2 on my list, so I agree. I think it's very close. The 3-headed backfield thing just scares me. You know, you never really know. Reed riding the hot hand. There's a couple other guys who I think are close, man. I think Justice Hill on the Ravens is like a very worthy potential ad. You know, he's second on the Ravens in receiving yards.
Jeez,
that's crazy.
With 161. When they're in, like, if they're going to be in a shootout, they're playing the Bengals next week. Like, I don't mind Justice Hill in situations like that. He had 18 points last night. He's seeing like 6 targets a game. So I like that. And then the other guy I wanted to mention was Rico Dowdle on Dallas. Is like starting to actually become maybe not the 1, but the 1A in this backfield. He was basically, you know, in terms of the amount of rushes on the team, he was started the season getting like a third of the team's rushes. Now he's up to getting like 2/3 of the team's rushes. So Rico Dowdle is another guy. Doesn't have a lot of competition in Dallas.
DK, how do you feel about Dowdle? Because it's weird. Because on one hand, he's kind of the starting running back for the Cowboys. And should we be like way higher than him? Should we be taking him like right there with Braylon Allen ahead of all these guys? Or what should we be doing here?
He was one of my guy. He was my guy last week. Got into the end zone, which definitely helped me in the Kai's guys situation. I don't know what the final score is yet, but hopefully
it should have been called back via flag because of Jake Ferguson, but it's fine. They picked the flag up, but it's okay.
Okay. Sure, that's never happened before.
Nope.
But yeah, I think he's looked solid. He has the most juice of all the running backs in that group. Right now, they're rotating 4 guys, so that definitely hurts. They got the Lupke guy, Elliott, and now Vaughn. Deuce Vaughn is even coming in and getting a few snaps.
It's a funny group. Zeke, who's 55 years old.
The most bizarre running back rotation I've ever seen in my life. And I think the reason I put him a little lower on this list is he has some pretty tough sledding ahead in terms of defenses they're facing. The next 4 at the Steelers, against the Lions, at the 49ers, and then at the Falcons. That's the next 4 for the Cowboys. So I don't know. It just could be tough sledding for him. But yeah, he is I would say the only official starter on this list. At least I guess you could say Sermon is probably going to be the starter if Jonathan Taylor is out. So there's that. But yeah, I don't know. I just think the combination of a 4-person rotation plus the tough schedule going ahead, he wouldn't be like at the top of my list priority wise.
Yeah, I agree. Not at the top of mine. Just wanted to toss him out if you're in a deep league here.
Also, Tank Bigsby for the Jags.
Yeah. So Etienne again. Did the Jags just hate Travis Etienne?
I think he's banged up.
Yeah, he had a shoulder injury earlier in the game. It looked like he had been benched. There was like a 15-minute period there where people were like, did he get benched? He's just standing on the sideline without his helmet and no one knows what happened. But it came back that he had injured his shoulder early in the game. And so they were just riding Bigsby for a little bit of the first quarter. And then as the game went on, Etienne came back and dominated touches. Bigsby's not getting any of the receiving work, which definitely puts a cap on his upside in fantasy. But if Etienne gets hurt, then that could change dramatically. And I think he's looked really good. He's actually I thought looked better than Etienne running the ball so far.
Yeah, it's kind of another one of those situations where the backup, Bigsby has outrushed Etienne in every game he's played on the same or less carries.
It's just a bunch of guys you're not supposed to worry about.
Yeah, 100%.
Seriously.
Everywhere. Speaking of which, Roshan Johnson, I know DeAndre Swift had a huge week, but also if you're in a deeper league, where some of these guys are probably like super rostered and you're like, why are you talking about Rico Dowdle as an ad? Because I'm sure there are leagues Dowdle's been added the whole year. I would say Roshan Johnson because he took Khalil Herbert's role. I know DeAndre Swift had a big role, but like Roshan Johnson just like
he turned it into a 2-person rotation, which is great. It's Swift and Roshan right now. I think Herbert didn't even really play in this last game.
Yeah, so there's more value there, and then also stashes. And shout out Nate Jonke at Pro Football Focus who put together great stuff. But Tyrone Tracy for the Giants, I think he will have this role at some point, and that's more of a stash. But if you're in a deeper league, I think like 14 teams, Tyrone Tracy is a guy who I think will be playing in like within a few weeks. I think eventually he'll be a starter. Probably, I don't know. We'll see.
He should make sure he gets number 26 from Devin Singletary.
Yeah, that's
that should be the rule.
Yeah. Okay. So we could just do a little trivia here.
No trivia.
Well, no, we'll do trivia, but it's not
just for fun.
It just kind of takes the air out of it.
All right.
Yeah, we're still doing what season long dinner trivia, right?
Yeah.
Loser pays for dinner.
Yeah.
Is that what we said?
I think so. Kai chooses a restaurant.
Oh, and Kai orders for us. Kai orders for the table.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That would actually be hilarious.
Kill us.
Kai orders
die.
for everyone.
We're in Los Angeles the last week of October. Should we do like a mid-season award where Kai orders dinner for us?
Yeah, we can do that.
We don't even know where it's. Oh my God, Kai's going to get us killed. Okay. All right. So trivia. All right. So this is just trivia for the love of the game. Do we even do the showdown time?
Yeah, we should do showdown time. I don't know. I guess there's no
For fun.
Yeah.
Showdown time.
This is the no player, but we're just having fun. Showdown time. We haven't talked to Kai about restaurants. We don't know what Kai's favorite restaurant is. We know what he gets at Chipotle, which is just chicken and rice. But we haven't really talked about what his favorite restaurants are. I'd be curious. We could do that later.
All right. This question is from Jake.
Are we finally done with the war
Jakey.
trivia? We kind of, DK got scratched that itch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was fine. Thanks. Thanks for that, everyone.
Real trivia. Now let's back to the bullshit fake trivia.
According to the Wikipedia page, how many different flavors of Oreos are there?
Oh, interesting.
Right now, or that have ever been created?
I think
According to the
ever.
Wikipedia page.
I think ever.
Ever. Okay. Oreos have been around for like 100 years, right?
Yeah.
But I'm sure they weren't creating flavors until. All right.
All right. 3, 2, 1.
77.
Okay, I said 40.
I said
Craig, what'd you
50.
say?
77.
It's 127.
Let's go.
Damn it.
Let's go.
I feel dumb. I'm on this Wikipedia page now. They have candy corn Oreos,
Yeah,
candy
dude.
cane, birthday cake, berry burst, chocolate, triple double Neapolitan. I feel so dumb for saying 50. Prime berry cream, ice cream rainbow sherbet. Or actually, ice cream rainbow sure, comma Bert. Which is that like a Muppets thing? I don't know. I feel dumb for saying 50. It's little freaks.
Yeah. All right.
Wide receivers. I think it's a huge week at wide receiver. One, just the bye weeks. Amon Wrestling Brown, Calvin Ridley, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, and of course Josh Palmer. And then all the injuries at receiver, which frankly was too many to name. Rashee Rice obviously went down, and then Christian Watson was carted off. So DK, who's your number one receiver entering week 5?
Dontayvion Wicks for the Packers, who had 5 catches, 78 yards, 2 touchdowns, 200 air yards this last week, which was most among all receivers. He was getting a lot of looks downfield. Jordan Love clearly trusts him, despite the fact I think he had 2 pretty bad drops. Still kept going back to him, scored 2 touchdowns. So with Christian Watson out, I don't know how long. Matt LaFleur said at least a week. I'm guessing based on how the injury looked and the fact that it was a high ankle sprain and he had to get carted away, and it feels like this is going to be a multi-week injury. And I think in the meantime, Dontayvion Wicks is a must start during that time. So I'm going with Wicks.
Correct.
I also went with Wicks. He was the guy fighting for snaps with Watson. They were the ones like kind of splitting time.
They were
So when
rotating.
Watson went down, Wicks kind of took over that role full time. I got to say, I'm like the fantasy Grim Reaper. Rashee Rice, Cooper Kupp, Christian Watson. And if I were Josh Palmer, I'd sleep with one eye open because he's next. All these guys are dropping like flies that I like.
Yeah, no, never forget the time you plugged Cam Akers passionately. It's like your favorite fantasy pick of all time, but he got hurt his Achilles before the episode was done recording. I had Wicks as my number one too for everything you guys said. Plus, they play the Rams and the Cardinals the next 2 weeks, and those defenses I'm highly suspect. And then also his name's fucking Dontayvion Wicks.
Great name. He's kind of a chaotic player. Like when you watch him, he's like so big and athletic.
Good. Yeah,
but
Good
he's
chaotic.
kind of chaotic everything.
Just
He,
chaotic,
kinda
neutral,
can't
just chaotic.
catch. Even like his touchdown was like bobbled. Like he does seem like he's a little messy out there, but he's so athletic and explosive.
He plays like he will one day be an elite receiver. Like he has the chaos of someone who thinks he's better than at all times.
He's like Kadarius Toney, but functions at a higher rate.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Also, I really like Wicks as an ad. I also am not stressed about losing this trivia. I don't know about you guys. I think that this might be the strongest
There's some
top
good
line
ones.
3 or 4 receiver ads in a given week. I have felt in like a year or two.
I agree.
In terms of season long quality for these players, or like at least the next month.
I think
really
there's
good.
like 3 guys who are kind of easy number ones off a usual
Yes.
waiver week, and then like 3 more that are pretty solid.
Yeah, like if this was a draft, you'd be like, oh, each of the 5 picks would have gone first last year. That's how I feel about the receivers right now. Okay, so not that many stakes.
All right. Well, we don't know that. I will say, Dontayvion Wicks is the only guy with like a very good quarterback. So that is.
And
nice.
again, the
There's a bit of a
schedule is
floor.
crazy. Yeah, and Watson's probably out the next 2 weeks. So,
All right, it is the Dontayvion Wicks showdown time.
This is from Justin.
Justin, what do you got?
How many known moons does Jupiter have?
Justin.
Known moons. Now it's the time I start wondering, what is the definition of a moon?
All right, I was wondering this too, because then people, all those headlines that were like, Earth will get a second moon for 2 months this year. And I'm like, will it?
Is it literally like a rock?
Will it really?
Is it? It's not that compelling.
I'm not very compelled, Jay.
Is
like,
a moon
it's a
just,
moon?
Is a moon just like a rock structure that's been caught in a planet's orbit and stays there for a certain amount of time?
Let me check. Earth's mini moon is. Oh my God! This is yesterday. Okay, so Earth's mini moon is arriving today. What to know about our temporary second moon?
It's arriving today.
Mini moon, like it's like having a
very
wedding.
Small,
like,
right?
Yeah, it's like a mini moon. Like, oh yeah, we're going to Italy, but it's not our honeymoon. It's a mini moon. Scientists call such phenomenon mini moons. The
asteroid, the size of a bus.
Oh wow, got a donk. Wait, a bus? We're calling a bus a moon?
I believe. Double check me. I think it said it's the size of like 1.5 buses, and I was like, this is not that big.
Dude, that's not a moon. It's ridiculous.
Doesn't qualify as a moon. I guess that's a mini moon. That they called it a mini moon.
Okay, so for our purposes.
Is the definition really going to change your answer?
It's a temporary captured flyby. Don't expect to see the mini moon, so we won't see it. Quite dim, won't be visible even if you have a telescope. Okay. I kind of wish they could have kept this one to themselves.
Yeah. Could have been an email.
we know too much about each other. Yeah.
Wait, get out of here. It's about 10 yards. It's a first down.
10 yards?
Yeah, like Chief Stereotor would have to measure this thing. Like, that's ridiculous. That's not a moon.
All right, so back to this. Jupiter's moons. How many moons does Jupiter have?
Well, now that's small.
Let's just pull Trey. Let's just do it.
Okay.
3, 2, 1.
500.
200.
I go way too low every time.
What'd you say?
I said 55. I said I'm going against. I Costanza'd it because I'm like, I think that they're probably only the big moons is what they're counting in this trivia question, but I'm probably wrong.
What did you say, Heifetz?
I said 200, but if you're right, they're probably not counting all the buses, bus-sized moons.
Craig said 500, so I'm way low.
I was going to say 50, and then I changed to 200 at the last second. What'd you say, Craig?
500.
The answer is 195.
Ooh.
You
guys got screwed because I was going to say 50 until I learned the bus thing.
Craig got it. Craig was 200?
I'm last.
No, I said 200.
Oh, okay. So then I'm second.
Okay, so I get Wicks.
Damn. I wanted Wicks.
No, wait. Craig said 500.
I got last.
Yeah, so DK, you get the next pick.
I know, but I wanted Wicks.
You want him? Honestly, I didn't even care that much. You can have Wicks. I'll take someone else.
DK, take him. He's willing to trade.
I mean, yes, I want Dontayvion.
Sure, you can get Wicks. That's fine.
All right. So who do you got next? This is weird, but I'm running with
Wicks back. It's just my mind. I kind of was being polite, but
all right, we can talk trades later.
This is like a on Reddit. It's like, Eagles, you just want him back.
Yeah.
Can't take
what you want, DK.
This is a real quick aside. Bijan Robinson on the injury report with a hamstring. So Allgeier maybe has a little bit more value.
You guys would both go Allgeier now, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I still think DK, like, you're right. Like, being realistic, we'll look back and be like, Bijan's probably fine, and Kareem Hunt is probably going to have a job for the whole year for the Kansas City Chiefs. But man, Bijan having a hamstring, I feel like what if he makes it worse at any point in the next month?
No, I would go, if Bijan's hurt, I'm taking Allgeier.
We have time to figure out the extent of this injury.
Because now,
just take it. That's one bit of information you have now.
My now double down argument for Allgeier is that we are literally just at any point in the next 5 weeks, now that he's had a hamstring injury, Bijan Robinson, all he needs to do is pull up one time on a run, and then you're like, I would kill to have Tyler O'Gill next week. Like, I would kill. And so
are we, like, I won the running back trivia. Can I now go back and take Tyler Allgeier now that we have new information?
No, I think it's set in stone.
What?
Yeah.
If it later benefits me to do that, then I'll change my mind.
That's horse shit.
Are you going to take him?
I would take out. Yeah. Now that Bijan's got a hammy, I don't like that.
Yeah. Timing's everything. Okay.
All right. Well, let me get back to the receivers here. So, man, there's two guys I think I like the most in this group. So I'm going with, this is a caveat. If you're in half PPR or PPR only, this is a player I'm choosing. Wan'Dale Robinson for the Giants. He has a 28% target rate this season, which is 8th highest in the NFL.
Dude, he's got the
receivers.
4th most targets in the NFL.
Yeah, he has 38 targets.
He's 4th.
Right. However, he's 137th in air yards per target. 4.6.
You know why? Because let me tell you why. Every single Giants play is Daniel Jones looks to throw to Malik Neighbors. And on third down, they double Malik Neighbors. And so he checks down to Wan'Dale Robinson every time. 5 of his catches this week were third downs that he did not get the first down. 5 different drives ended with Wan'Dale Robinson being tackled a yard short.
The living embodiment of a PPR scam.
Yeah, it's participation trophy. But you're right. I actually think in a full PPR league, you could argue Wan'Dale should be over Wicks in a way. I probably would still love Wicks, but Wan'Dale, this is a Ponzi scheme.
It's
also,
like what the Saints did with Kamara last year is like what the Giants are doing with Wan'Dale this year.
I mean, he was a running back in college for a while. Like he's actually an extension of the run game for the Giants.
100%. 100%. You know why? Where he got all these yards. Like flags, the Giants get backed up. 2nd and 18. They're like, all right, just so the Cowboys backed up. 2nd and 18, Wan'Dale gets 8 yards. 2nd and 14, he gets 6 yards. 3rd and 14, he gets 11. 3rd and 8, he gets 7. 3rd and 6, he gets 5.
Got to figure out a way to make money off of this incompetence.
Yeah. PPR Wan'Dale's.
Also, the one thing that is really potentially helpful for him is that, and I say that with concern for Malik Neighbors, who is probably going to miss week 5 with a concussion most of the time. There is a chance, since he suffered a concussion on Thursday, that he gets back the next week. But I would say most of the time, based on how the way concussion protocol has gone over the last year or two, generally speaking, these guys miss at least one game after getting a concussion. So what were you say, Heifetz?
We didn't talk about this because it was Thursday Night Football and we'd recorded earlier in the day, but I think he was knocked out on that play where he tried to catch it on the sideline. Like, look, he was knocked unconscious.
Landed on his head pretty hard. Yeah,
he landed on his face,
scary.
like trying to do a toe tap catch. And then they asked, and a teammate shouted across the locker room while reporters in there, "Are you okay, Leak?" And he was like, "No."
Yeah.
So I feel like he might not play this week.
So so Malik Neighbors, who has like a 40-something% target rate, may be out this next week, which I think obviously Wan'Dale is going to be a bigger part of a focus in the passing game. So yeah, especially this week, Wan'Dale I think is a good choice.
Daniel Jones completed 29 passes on Thursday Night Football. 23 of the 29 were to Malik Neighbors and Wan'Dale Robinson.
Yeah. So it's the pass it to the Italians offense light. Malik Neighbors is incredible. By the way, I know that we're talking about Wan'Dale here, but Malik Neighbors is already like a top 6 receiver in the NFL. It's insane.
And in case anyone has no idea what we're talking about, it's the kicking and screaming when Will Ferrell's like, pass it to the Italians, and he gets mad when the kids like, don't just give it to the best players. So we joked about that with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, and the Dolphins just give it to the Italians. I don't know. The Giants, it's more like the whole Europe. Yeah. Malik Neighbors is an Italian. I don't know. Wan'Dale Robinson's just, I don't know. European Union. Okay. So you take Wan'Dale. Craig. There's a lot of other receivers. There's 2 other guys I really like. I'm curious who you take.
Yeah, I really like, honestly, I'm between Josh Downs on the Colts, who, if Flacco plays, it's kind of like the rising tide of Flacco lifts all boats for wide receivers on this team. Josh Downs looked good. He had 8 yards, 82 catches, touchdown last week. The other guy I'm kind of considering more of a long-term play is Xavier Legette, the rookie on Carolina.
I almost went with him.
Yeah, man. Yeah. He had 66 yards and a touchdown last week. Adam Thielen is on IR, and Legette's starting opposite Deontay Johnson. Jonathan Mingo, their second-year wide receiver, is their number 3 guy. I don't know. The Andy Dalton thing, like it looks like a viable situation now. I actually wanted to talk to you, DK, the draft expert, about Legette and like what you think his ceiling is now that you've seen him a little bit. You know what offense he's in. What you think about Legette?
So he is the classic, really explosive, really big, physical, strong guy who's kind of raw. And I think his route running is still a work in progress. And I think that's a concern. But at the same time, the Panthers they said this during the preseason, and they've affirmed it while like playing, that they're going to scheme him up looks. They're going to get him the football. They're going to find ways to work around some of his, constraints as a route runner, and basically just try to feed him the football and let his athleticism take over, which is exactly what you hope for from a coach. So I don't know, maybe there's a little bit of a Rashee Rice style to him where it's like crossers, get him in space. You're not asking him to win one-on-one against press coverage, like move him around the formation, that kind of thing, where his athleticism can take over because he's really big, really, really explosive. And they just need a guy like that because Deontay Johnson is going to be there, get open, create first downs type of player, but then they need someone else who's going to be like explosive and hopefully create some explosive plays for them. So yeah, I think he said his name is pronounced Liget. I'd have to look into that. But Xavier,
he's the one with the absolute craziest Carolina accent of all time.
Yeah.
Like
awesome
the
accent.
most North Carolina or South Carolina accent ever.
Like borderline unintelligible. I usually don't know what he's saying.
He did the horse celebration this week, but like I think it just has a horse named Dollar Bill. And yeah, so he's incredible. I agree. So he's AJ Brown's size. Like he's 6'1", 230. And again, we talk about Wan'Dale. It's the same situation where the Panthers throw to Deontay Johnson as much as the Giants throw to Neighbors. The difference is when the Giants check down to Wan'Dale Robinson, he's 5'8", like what, 180? Right. Yeah. Xavier Legette is 6'1", 230. And to your point, every year there's like one receiver that you believe in and you're a little afraid you'd be wrong or vice versa. I didn't really believe in him, to be honest, Xavier Legette. And I've watched him the first month and I'm like, I actually think he's going to be really good because he had this, first of all, to your point, DK, he actually is running some of these routes now. And I was surprised that he's running digs. He's running outs like for first downs on 3rd and 7 or whatever. Like Dalton's throwing him the ball. And then he had this really weird non-traditional profile where he had 400 yards in the first 4 years of college and then 1,300 in year 5. And you're like, usually those guys are like, oh, you needed 5 years in college to do well. And you're like, oh, well, that usually doesn't go well. But, he was just, it was a crazy situation. Senior year of high school, they switched him to quarterback because they just needed him for the team. He ran for 1,800 yards, but then he didn't play receiver. And then also his father had passed away that year. And then he goes to college and they gray shirt him because he hadn't played receiver the year before. And then the next year's COVID. And then the next year they changed the coach. And so it was just like, it's not excuses. It was just like, there's always crazy stuff going on. And then like, all right, he gets like 1.5 full years and then, all right, 1,300 yards. So I agree. I think if there was one guy in this list where I'm like, he would be for like incredible for the rest of the season, you're like, oh, that's a breakout rookie. I actually think Xavier Legette could be the guy. For this week, if you told me Joe Flacco was playing and I had to pick one player to have the most points this week, I would pick Josh Downs. Yeah. And if Joe Flacco was not playing, I think Richardson actually improves, but I would probably go Dontayvion, Wicks, or Wan'Dale. I will say the only caveat I'll give to Wicks is that he got the most air yards because the Packers were down 28-0, and they threw the entire second half.
Like that every game.
And so, that's the thing. But I think these 4 receivers, Dontayvion Wicks, Wan'Dale Robinson, Josh Downs, and Xavier Legette, are as strong a top 4 we've had on waivers in like a year or two of doing the last couple.
I know. I was really torn. I almost went with Legette. I think there's actually also a few more guys that we haven't mentioned yet. Like Tutu Atwell and Jordan Whittingham for the Rams. Sorry, Whittington. I'm like turning him into like a
Whittingham sounds like a British soccer captain.
Yeah, I was like the aristocratic British guy. Whittingham. I think both of those guys have come on strong and sort of separated themselves from the rest of the pack in LA. Craig, what were you going to say?
Well, I got to decide who I pick between Downs and Legette. Right. Can I have a contingency set up where if Joe Flacco plays, I get Downs? I got to decide right now.
I think you could get that if it was by end of day Tuesday when waivers go through. I should have just gone with no, like DK said.
We're not going to find out.
It's no.
It's
a no from me, dog.
I agree. Season long, it's Legette. Next week, it's Downs. I'll take Downs.
Downs, right. He's really good. You guys have been higher on Josh Downs than me, and my issue was he had a high ankle sprain and he's 5'8".
It was a mild high ankle sprain. I actually think it was not a mild. It was a severe.
Do you think it's contagious on the Colts?
Yeah, probably. He gave it to Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, like they weren't social distancing with the high ankle sprains.
Yeah, probably.
Also, throughout this whole process, by the way, you can put waivers in on more than one person in real life. So get both of them. Why not?
But you're number one. Like someone has.
I know.
That's why we do it. So, okay. I think, anyone else? Yeah, Tutu Atwell, who I think is a tier below these guys, but he's also perfectly fine.
Yeah, agreed.
Trey Tucker on the Raiders has put together 2 back-to-back solid weeks. He's kind of a smaller guy, like a Wan'Dale-sized dude, but he's been really good.
Devontae Adams is injured.
Yep, hamstring.
That's a huge factor here. And he may be traded at some point. I don't know. So Trey Tucker could end up being more valuable than you think. Jacoby Myers, too, is if he's out there, I think is a pickup. One note on Trey Tucker. I remember, so I went to the Senior Bowl the year, and Trey Tucker and Jaden Reed were 2 guys that really stood out to me at the Senior Bowl. Trey Tucker has really flown under the radar the first, I guess, year of his career. He was rookie last year. But he flashes to me. I don't know. And they talked him up a ton over the offseason.
Antonio Pierce was asked which players have leveled up the most this offseason. And it was like the end of training camp.
Yeah.
And they asked like players, plural. And Antonio Pierce was like, Trey Tucker.
Yep. So I don't know. There might be something here. He's a smaller player and maybe not going to be heavily utilized once Devontae gets back.
He's fast though.
Yeah.
And he's added the underneath game too. So yeah, I think that, there's a lot of really good options here.
I would also say the two Jets wide receivers that aren't Garrett Wilson. Allen Lazard has 3 touchdowns in 4 games, and he is still out there in a lot of leagues. He is like the clear number 2 guy. He had 8 targets last week. And then also Mike Williams, they're starting to ramp him up, which is exactly what Saleh said they would do. And he's playing more every week. He had 67 yards this week. Like, it is Mike Williams. If this offense starts to catch fire a little bit, like I could see at the end of the year, Mike Williams is like a guy who should be starting on your fantasy team. So if you can like stash him, I do think that's like a worthy ad. I also want to talk about briefly, Bill has been pining for Drake May to start in week 5. A lot of people have been talking about Drake May coming in week 5. Jalen Polk, the rookie out of Washington on New England. He seems like he's also kind of like ramping up to be the number 1 in this offense. And if Drake May comes in, it could be a totally different situation. Might be messy for a while, but second half of the season, if you're a really good team right now and you have a bunch of receivers that you're comfortable with and you just want to stash somebody, Jalen Polk, I think, could be a guy you could get it on the ground floor of right now.
This is either really good or bad, but I've agreed with everything every one of you has said. Every word both of you have said.
How's this one, Heifetz? Juju Smith-Schuster.
Oh.
How does that make you feel?
We should talk about what the Chiefs do replacing it. Peter Schrager tweeted today, guys that he thinks Brett Veach should call to trade for this season.
Like
Heifetz,
trades?
He did mention a giant. He mentioned Jalen Hyatt, not Darius Slayton. But he
Hyatt
also mentioned,
wants to trade, but they should ask about Slayton. They'll send him Hyatt.
Yeah. Schrager tweeted
Hyatt's
out.
playing like 15% of the snaps so far, I feel like.
I don't know if it's
Hyatt
because
was good last year.
Do you think it's because Hyatt can't run routes or because Daniel Jones can't reach Hyatt on any of the deep throws or both?
Yes.
He can just run straight.
By the way, what is the deal with that? Daniel Jones keeps short-arming deep passes.
I think it's like the alternative to it not being a physical problem is suggesting that he's so mentally broken he can't throw. I feel like it has to be just like he tore his ACL and had a neck injury and whatever combination. I don't know if it's 80-20, 20-80 in whatever direction, but like I think it has to be physical limitation because every time, the Giants should have beat the Cowboys on Thursday.
Daniel Jones he had a guy a couple times.
He left 12 points on the board. There were 3 field goals they had. They should have been 3 touchdowns. And I'm talking like multiple steps, easy plays, no pressure. And like, he just couldn't do it. Jalen Hyatt, but yeah, sorry, you were saying, Craig.
Yeah. So Schrager tweeted out Amari Cooper, Jalen Hyatt, Cooper Kupp, which would blow my mind. And then Keenan Allen. I can't see any scenario in which the Rams are giving Cooper Kupp to the fucking Chiefs.
Also, why would the Chiefs trade for an injured receiver?
Right.
Like
Amari Cooper, though, it's like Devontae Adams is not going to happen. They're not going to go interdivision. But Amari Cooper, it's like, should you trade for Amari Cooper just for the possibility of him getting traded to the Chiefs?
Well, he can't complain this week, though, because Deshaun Watson put a ball in the numbers into Amari Cooper's chest and he bounced it up for center field. And then it was pick 6 and they lost the game because of that play.
It was a borderline Mark Andrews play. Yeah.
Like
it was a Kadarius Toney play. They lost because he didn't catch that ball.
I'm going to make it my job to like figure out which receiver is going to get traded to the Chiefs and then trade for them a week before that.
The Giants, so much of this is like fantasy where it's kind of like people who know each other and have done deals in the past. It's easier to get deals done. And the Giants did the Toney trade. I really think the Chiefs call the Giants. And if it's Jalen Hyatt, it's Hyatt, but I really think I think it's Darius Slayton. Maybe they don't want that. I think the Chiefs probably want to, I will say this. The Chiefs should start with a multi-year contract guy. Slayton's in the last year of his deal, but the problem is Marquise Brown is on a 1-year deal, so he's kind of cooked. And then you also, you have Rashee Rice is he in the last year of his contract? Like the problem is the Chiefs.
2 years left.
He
was a rookie last year.
He was a first rounder, wasn't he?
Oh yeah.
Second rounder?
He's got 2 years, but he's going to be suspended to start next season.
Right.
So probably for like potentially a third of the year.
He probably wouldn't play anyway, to be honest, because if he tore his ACL. But yeah,
that's true. But but like 6-game suspension maybe for Rice. Like Chiefs probably need not just to solve for this season. Like if they could get someone who's under contract for next year too, that would be nice.
Do you think if Hyatt or Slayton goes there, Heifetz, that either of them will be like a legitimate fantasy player this year?
Slayton. I think Slayton's good. I think Slayton, again, the Giants try to cut Darius Slayton. He's 5th round pick from Auburn, Dave Gettleman. The Giants try to cut Darius Slayton 4 years in a row, and he led the Giants in receiving each of the 4 years. I think with Patrick Mahomes, I really do think he'll go just because, obviously it's weird to pick one player and say he'll go to the Chiefs, like it's random. But I think if he did that, Slayton's just really good and Daniel Jones kind of sucks, but Mahomes doesn't. So
for what it's worth, Adam Schefter apparently highlighted Amari Cooper as a potential trade target for the Chiefs.
Makes sense because the Browns probably need to get from any money. Yeah, we'll see.
And if the Browns continue to lose, they might just cut bait, right?
Yeah.
Right.
All right. So tight ends. DK. It's a wasteland out there. Who's your number one tight end entering week 5?
Damn. This one's also pretty tough between 3 different guys. I think I'm going to go with... I'm going to go with Taysom Hill, I guess, even though he's hurt. This is a decision that comes down to, do you need a guy to play in week 5? Because like if you have Trey McBride and he misses another week, if you have Mark Andrews and he's just obviously not worth playing anymore, it depends on what you need. For the rest of the season, I would rank Taysom Hill the highest. We saw exactly why that was last week. He had 6 rushes, 24 yards, 2 touchdowns. He is their red zone guy. Like they bring him in when they need a bucket in the red zone and on short yardage and things like that. They're utilizing him all over the formation. They seem to really love him. Unfortunately, he keeps getting hurt. 34-year-old guy who runs really, really hard into guys. I guess that it makes sense, but
upside is, he had a goal. He had a touchdown rushing as a goal line quarterback and one as a goal line running back. But the downside is, does he have a punctured lung and a separate abdomen injury?
He has a rib injury and a lungs injury.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But yeah, dude, last week he lined up twice at quarterback, 3 times at running back, 3 times at fullback, once at tight end, 5 times in the slot, and once out wide.
Yeah, it's like if Kyle Juszczyk could throw. That's basically how they treat this. So I have him too. And again, it's weird, giant asterisk that like you could add him and he could be great and he could not play this week. So I don't know. It's a little weird. Craig, is that who you have?
I do too. But we'll do trivia and then I guess the winner gets him. And does he get a backup if he doesn't play?
If he doesn't play, it's the risk of taking it. We all decide.
If he dies, he dies.
Basically, we're recording this Monday at 4:51 Eastern. And if you are listening to this, you have the benefit of a little more time. So hopefully by Tuesday, when you put in waivers, by Tuesday night, you have more information. Obviously, if you need a tight end this week and Taysom Hill's not going to play, that's not going to be good. So the next guy, I think we all... is it Tucker Kraft? Is it all of us Packers Tucker Kraft? I think so. Okay. Yeah. We talked about him last week. We can just do that now. Tucker Kraft is like, he starts for the Packers and the Packers are good offense. And he's the only guy left on waivers where you're like, that guy might fix your team. It's like, you know what I mean? He's good. He passes
the eye test. He just looks good out there.
Great touchdown.
Yeah.
It's a low bar. So... Taysom Hill, Tucker Kraft, if you're worried about the Tucker. All right, so let's do the trivia then.
This is the official sign that the fantasy season is back, is because it is the Taysom Hill showdown time.
Love the gong.
Do you guys want one about tight ends or one about rice?
Like the food or the college?
Yeah.
The food. I couldn't pick between rice and tight ends.
Dude, I want the food.
Okay, rice. All right.
That's more
this one's
fun.
from Big Georgie.
Big Georgie. BG.
Great name.
What is the average number of grains of rice in a standard 1 pound bag of long grain rice?
This is like in middle school when it was like, how many M&Ms are in the jar?
Yeah.
I was terrible at that game also.
I like this one because it's like you kind of see rice all the time. You know, it's not like gimmicky.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Pull trig. I'm trying to visualize a spoon.
I know, me too.
I'm counting like an idiot. I'm counting the grains on like a moron. So 1, 2, 3, 4.
All right, let's just say what's in your heart.
3, 2, 1.
5,000.
Ooh, 2,000. Craig said 2,000. I said 4,000.
I said 5,000.
Damn it.
The answer is 29,000.
Oh,
way low.
Okay.
It's a lot.
Yeah, because I was thinking about like a cup of rice. I'm like, there's got to be a couple hundred in there. But then I had no idea how many cups.
Like apparently it's thousands. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Now that I think about it.
Yeah.
All right, so I get Taysom Hill, and I probably lose because if he doesn't play, then Craig gets Tucker Kraft. So DK, you're screwed.
No. DK,
I'm second.
DK got second.
You get Tucker Kraft, which is probably better than Taysom Hill because Taysom Hill's bruised lung, and we all took him first like morons. So Craig, you get
I don't think Craig's screwed here because I think there's one other good option.
Yeah.
What do you think, Craig?
Good is a relative term.
Well, anything is relative at tight end.
Makes you not actively depressed when you look at this who you're playing.
Just
one other guy.
Ignore the name and look at the underlying utilization.
Are you going to say Kate Otten?
Yes.
We do this every year. Kate Otten, it's like...
Okay, well, look at what's happening with Mark Andrews. Look at what's happening with fucking everyone.
Sure. All right.
This is the world we're living in.
Kate Otten...
DK's like in the bunker, and he's
beggars
like...
can't be choosers.
He's like, you complain how an MRE tastes, Craig?
Yeah. We got to eat.
Yeah, for those
Just
of you who
add
don't
water.
know, Kate Otten is a tight end on the Bucks.
We do. Craig is just like,
Sure.
it's like
look,
trying
Kate
to
Otten,
give Calvin anything other than toast and spaghetti.
he's a sad but respectable 6 to 8 fantasy points a game.
Right.
Now he has 17 targets over the last 2 weeks. He has 17 targets over the last 2 weeks. I guess you can't scoff at that. They're playing the Falcons.
But you just literally scoffed at it.
You're right. I did. The other people I was debating was Tyler Conklin. Is like, he didn't have a good fantasy game, but
it was raining. You close your eyes, you throw it out. You're like Aaron Rodgers throwing to a tight end. You just close your eyes.
Tight end snaps league.
But they're playing
the tight end with the most snaps gets points.
But they're playing Minnesota. I mean, if you were going to do most snaps, Tyler Conklin ran the most routes in the NFL for tight ends, right?
I think Conklin is fine because again, it was raining. It was a weird game, and the
They're
Broncos
playing
defense is legit.
which terrifies me.
The Broncos defense is also good, and it was raining, and I'm just kind of like, yeah.
I know, but he had a shitty game, so I'm like, is he going to have another shitty game against the Vikings defense in Minnesota?
Well, you know what? That's probably he's a tight end. It'll probably be a shitty game. It's like Vince Vaughn. It's like if you have no expectations, you'll never be disappointed.
I'm going to go with. I don't want to do Kate Otten. I don't. I'm going to go with Tyler Conklin.
God damn it!
I just don't want to.
Just Calvin. Just it's like trying. Yeah, I'm having
Kate
flashbacks
Otten,
to trying to feed my son.
I can't do it.
It's like it's like you're in the high chair, just throws Kate
Just
Otten
eat
overboard.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh my god! All right. So
Sorry. Who did you go with? Tyler Conklin.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, there's the state of tight end. Quarterback.
Wait, did we each split trivia again? 3 ways? Did we each get a win?
I don't remember.
I got
running backs.
I thought you were keeping track.
DK won wide receivers? No, Heifetz won wide receivers.
I won running backs because I had Kareem Hunt.
No, I got Wicks and Taysom Hill. No.
Oh, wait, never mind.
I got Wicks. I won receiver and tight end.
I think I got second every time. Or no, that's not true.
Yeah, because you got Tucker Kraft and then DK, you got...
did I win with Trey Sermon? Did I go second with running backs? This is riveting.
We could probably check the tape.
We split.
No, because I won the Oreo flavors.
Yeah, but that was for running backs.
Yeah, right. And then Heifetz won and got Wicks, and then Heifetz won again and got Taysom.
So Heifetz got 2.
Heifetz got 2.
Okay.
Son of a gun.
Quarterbacks, I mean, it's still Justin Fields if he's there. Like, he obviously 35 points. Like, we've been saying it. Like, Justin Fields if he's available. Otherwise, Darnold if he's available. I feel like it's weird sometimes with the quarterbacks where I would say now it's the point where the good ones aren't so available. And now it's a little more faith of like, will Trevor Lawrence bounce back? Will you feel silly if you put Andy Dalton in your lineup or not? I don't think there's anyone, frankly, that stands out as like, oh, that person's a huge value at quarterback right now. It's kind of like you can plug and play. And frankly, the teams on bye this week, I don't think are huge. Like, we're talking about like what? Lions, Chargers, Titans. I don't think there's hopefully not a huge demand at quarterback for this week. But honestly, Flacco plays, you could do worse. Which is crazy to say.
So back.
Honestly, he'll probably outscore Richardson. So, all right, defenses. The Vikings somehow are under 50% on ESPN.
Yeah.
The Vikings defense is really good and creates chaos. So I would get the Vikings if they're out there. If they're not, the Denver Broncos defense is legit. It really is. I think Pat Surtain is obviously one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL, but it's not just him. I mean, if you just the Broncos defensive line's playing really well right now. They have Nick Bonito, who's been fantastic. Zach Allen's kind of rejuvenated, but they actually, PFF has this thing now called chip rate. And long story short, it's actually low-key maybe one of the better metrics that's out there right now is actually chip rate. The idea of how much that there's a tackle blocking him and are you being chipped by a running back?
How often they get chipped?
And shout out to Mike Sanford, who does great stuff in the Broncos area. And chip rate's an incredible stat because it's kind of a mix of what's happening now. It's kind of like respect going into a game with actually how you're performing during the game. And so anyway, the Broncos defense is legit. Their pass rushers are really legit. It's like TJ Watt and 2 of the 5 guys in chip rate are the Broncos pass rushers. So I would add the Broncos defense. They're available everywhere. And if they're not there, Seahawks. A lot of people drop the Seahawks because they're playing the Lions and it's Monday. The game hasn't happened yet. Maybe I look like an idiot and the Seahawks defense is terrible, but they're playing the Giants.
They get a lot
next
of
week.
Injuries right now.
But they're playing the Giants next week. So if the Vikings and the Broncos aren't there, I bet the Seahawks probably are. So those are the 3 defenses I'd go with. All right. Kai, let's get in here real quick.
What's up, y'all?
Will you just quickly recap for us what happened last week?
Of course. And I can confirm the trivia stuff too. Craig has 5, still has the lead there. Heifetz gets a little bit closer with 4, winning 2 today. And then DK's at 3. So still tight
Close.
race.
All right. Long way to go.
Yeah, last week I got crushed, unfortunately. Picked the siren song that is Quentin Johnston, Go Frogs. He'll bounce back next week. Touchdown for sure.
Bye week. Next week after that, he'll be back.
Yeah, it's just a 1 week on again, off again thing. Like he'll score and then he won't, and then he'll score and then he won't.
Kai, we forgot to give you some food items to try for this week, so we're gonna assign you. We're gonna find something. Maybe it should be one of those. Well, no, actually, you like Oreos. I think we're done with Oreos. We're gonna find something.
I do like Oreos,
and we're gonna have you try it next week. And then also,
yeah, you know what? I have an idea. It's just double stuff Oreos. How about that?
Yeah,
I don't think I've ever had those.
Wouldn't
before,
you like that?
So
we're gonna get the cheese flavored.
Lying through your teeth. Wait, so who won? Yeah, last week with the players.
Craig had Braylon Allen, Quentin Johnston, Conklin for 10.6 total points. DK came in second with Rico Dowdle, Juwan Jennings, and Cole Kmet with 27.8 points. And then Heifetz came in first with Bucky Irving, Romeo Dobbs, and Tucker Kraft.
Tuck. Kraft did it.
So, yeah, we were talking pre-pod.
We're gonna have you eat Kraft mac and cheese. Just
have you ever
again? Just once a year. See how I'm feeling about it.
Yeah, you'll just raw dog a Kraft single this time.
That's actually a really good idea.
That might be like my one veto.
I don't think I would want to even do that.
Like,
yeah.
I know you don't like cheese, but it's legally not cheese.
Yeah,
it's a cheese product.
It's true.
I think that makes it worse. Yeah, I think that makes it worse.
That's like kind of the perfect one.
I can't get behind. I can't force
one bite of a Kraft mac and cheese single.
No,
what? I'm not talking about mac and cheese or a Kraft single.
I know. It's Kraft single. I just combined things. All right.
Yeah, no.
We'll noodle on this.
Okay. All right. So who you taking this week?
I think this week, to recap the teams, Heifetz has Tyler Allgeier, Dontayvion Wicks, and Taysom Hill. Real great week for names here. Kareem Hunt for DK, Wan'Dale Robinson, and Tucker Kraft. And then Craig has 2 Colts, Trey Sermon, Josh Downs, and then a Jet, Tyler Conklin. I'm going to go with DK. 1, because I think he has the best team. And 2, because I picked Heifetz and Craig and was led astray. So DK, we're back. This is the week that I win.
Feel good about this.
Kai, what are your top 3 favorite restaurants?
Okay, so do fast food restaurants count?
Let's say you can add 1 fast food restaurant. What's your favorite fast food restaurant?
Whataburger for sure.
Oh.
In terms of a fast food restaurant.
I've never had that.
Good taste.
You've never had it, DK? You gotta try it.
What's your order?
Oh man. I have a few go-tos. They're a little bit unique, you might say. I'll get a number 1, which is just their Whataburger, but I'll get plain and dry. So me and bun, and then I'll.
Is that how you say it to the? Is that how you order it?
Get spicy ketchup.
I spell it all the way out because they'll get it wrong. That's the one thing about Whataburger is they get it wrong all the time, and so I just go number 1,
plain and dry,
add bacon, no cheese. That's it.
So you're going bun, patty, bacon, bun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait.
Whataburger.
Bacon above the patty, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Whataburger's
number 1 for me.
Whataburger until I die.
And in the middle of it is just beef and bacon.
Yeah, that's correct.
I love that.
Okay. They also have a sandwich called a honey barbecue chicken strip sandwich. And I'll go for that.
Strip sandwich.
And it has cheese on it, so no cheese, obviously. And the hack for anyone in Texas or wants to try Whataburgers, you can sub the honey barbecue for their honey butter, which you can only get on there.
The honey butter is incredible. Honey butter is outrageous.
Hours. So yeah, you get that, you sub it for honey butter. It's probably the greatest thing this earth has to offer.
Wow.
Other restaurants, man, I'm going to be honest, like sit down is tough for me. A lot of substitutions. I can't really go to a lot. I asked for like a medium well at a steak place, and then I get laughed out the building. So it's kind of tough.
I like that you're like, sit restaurants. Sit down restaurants, man.
They stress me out a little bit because I'm just like, they're going to tell me that I can't substitute this, and then I'm just going to have to like eat fries or something.
By the way, I was trying to find the closest Whataburger to me. I think it's in Colorado or Arizona. I'm looking at a map here. Might be Arizona as closest.
There's none in California.
No, that's the sad part about Colorado. Yeah, very sad.
There's 743 locations in Texas.
Yeah,
and then There
Texas
are
chain.
no more than 40. There's no more than 43 in any other state.
And that's honestly like changed quite a bit over the last few years. Like it used to be just Texas and in the South, like some in Florida and stuff like that. And now, I think some private equity group in Chicago owns it now or something crazy.
I'm a ride or die.
There's
for
one in
Whataburger.
Nevada.
Nice, Heifetz. Ball.
Ride or die for Whataburger.
Way better than In-N-Out. Let me just get that on the
Yes,
record.
it's true.
It's not even close. I like In-N-Out too, but it's not even a competition.
I've never had it, and I know that's wrong.
It's sorry.
The issue with In-N-Out is the name's a lie. You can't get in and out of In-N-Out. Like it's just it's actually
You've
6 hours and a
said
half.
that like 5 times. That is
it's
the
the slowest
lamest
fast food.
That is like the lamest thing you've ever said.
It's the
I can't get
slowest
over
fast food
how
there is.
lame that is. That is the most like 80-year-old grandpa complaint I've ever heard.
I'm just saying, it's the only place where like I've waited 40 minutes for a burger is In-N-Out.
It's
of
because
all the
it's so
fast food
fucking
chains.
popular. What are you
Yeah, so
going to
make
do?
more of them.
Should they
That's
change
my
the name
point.
because it's too popular?
Change the name. That's my take.
No,
Yeah, I like
put
that.
more restaurants there because it's more popular.
They don't put more restaurants because they're dedicated to quality ingredients and they want to expand to places where they can't get good ingredients. It's why
They're
it's
afraid-
good.
Yeah. Well, or they're afraid to compete. I don't know.
I don't think
Whataburger's
In-N-Out.
better.
I
It's
think
not
In-N-Out's
close.
doing
It's
just
better.
fine.
Let's get a poll going. I'll probably lose.
I
so
agree
let's
with
not do
Craig
that.
that I don't give a fuck what the name is. That the
That's
name
just
isn't
so
factually correct.
stupid.
Even though I've never been to In-N-Out either.
I just
In
like
fact,
it-
I might have been there one time, but I don't really remember it.
Like,
I'm
I
not
can't.
like, the name's wrong. I'm just like, yes, sometimes it takes a long time.
I mean, you kind of literally were just like, the name is wrong and therefore it sucks.
But it was a name. No, it was a conduit. So sometimes In-N-Out takes a long time. That's all. If it's busy.
It was named that back when drive-through was a novel idea.
Yeah.
Times change, they're not going to change their entire branding and logo and name.
Hey, Whataburger never
not
changes.
the
though.
fastest food.
Whataburger,
In and stay a while.
So
Wait and eat.
Wait, dude. All right, you guys want to do some emails?
Sure.
Yes.
Sure.
I don't think I've ever seen Craig get so mad.
I know it's California. No, that's
Trigger.
good for
I just
him.
like-
It's California.
I've
You gotta defend it now.
I've
You can't
heard the In-N-Out name thing from Heifetz like 10 times at this point, and I'm like, we got to get past this.
No, it's
complaint.
Yeah.
Look, in California, you can't let. It's like speaking about your mom. It's like you can't just like talk the way I was talking about In-N-Out and just not. You have
Can't
to
let it stand.
No, you can't do
Yeah.
that. It's too important to the culture. I do like In-N-Out, but Whataburger's better. All right. Emails for fantasyfootball@gmail.com about Whataburger and In-N-Out. All right. Quick some emails. I have to shout out to Kaylee.
Kaylee.
Kaylee has ended our national nightmare about clouds.
Oh, thank God.
So Kaylee writes, and again, for those who don't know idea what we're talking about, we argued about clouds and whether they weigh and all the. Do they weigh? What's up with clouds? Do they weigh anything?
Kaylee is a cloud.
Kaylee
Kaylee's
is a
a cloud.
mechanical engineer.
Okay.
Kelly says, I wanted to clear something up about the weight of clouds. In physics terms, weight is the force of gravity acting on an object of a given mass. Mass is absolute and constant, but weight is dependent on gravitational conditions. So you'd weigh less on the moon, you'd weigh more on Jupiter, but you'd have the same mass on both.
Mhm.
The mass of the water in a cloud may be a 1 billion pound mass, but because it's lighter than the air around it, it's perfectly valid to say that it has a weight of a 0 pound force.
Oh,
DK, did we do it?
vindicated.
So she says, this is a confusing topic because we use pounds interchangeably to refer to both mass and weight, even though those are different properties.
Oh.
So the point is, you guys are right in a technical sense that a cloud does not weigh 1 billion pounds, even though it has a mass of 1 billion pounds. So if you wanted to be more technical, you could say the weight of a cloud is 1 billion pounds, but it's being counteracted by an equivalent upwards buoyant force from the air around it. But I'm an engineer, not a physicist. So in any practical sense, a cloud is weightless.
Finally.
Reason prevails, Craig.
Oh, okay. Dude, that was like the shortest conspiracy theory ever. We did it.
We did it. We didn't have to even do our own experiments.
Chris,
This
like
is
I want to go
incredible.
back to that trivia from 3 years ago and change who won. And I want to pick a different player.
DK and I get 1 extra point.
Yeah. Now, Brooke emailed in to weigh in
Oh,
on
no.
clouds.
Oh,
Are clouds
Brooke.
objects?
Oh, no. Oh, okay.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
So, well, Brooke says, I love your
Brooke.
podcast.
Brooke.
Brooke says, I've never played fantasy football before, but my fiance sucked me into it. I don't even watch football closely ever. So combinations of names, positions, teams you guys mentioned mean nothing to me. This podcast has been a light guiding me out of a dark tunnel into a slightly less dark tunnel, which
I'll take that.
Okay.
I'll take that.
should that be the bio on our new Instagram at Ringer
Slightly
Fantasy Football?
better.
Yeah, a slightly less dark tunnel. That's like maybe that's our bio for the show. So Brooks says, clouds, they're made up of tiny water droplets and ice crystals, each being a few microns in diameter. For reference, a human hair is like 70 microns thick. A red blood cell is like 8 microns thick. The water droplets are a few. So each individual droplet is so light that rising air currents can suspend them in air, counteract the force of gravity, pulling them down. There's a lot of microns in a cloud. Sorry, not microns. Sorry, droplets. A lot of water droplets in a cloud, and they just spread over a long distance so they can stay suspended. So when these droplets get too heavy, it overcomes the force of gravity. They fall. That's rain. I am 100. And Brooks says I'm 100% on. The clouds are not objects. Train, because clouds are more like a formation of teeny tiny stuff that looks like an object, but it's more of a mist or a spray.
I got to go to Vegas. I'm hot right now.
Boom.
I actually feel like I've learned a
non-objects.
lot about clouds today.
I know.
Now, Kaylee's email, going back to Kaylee for a second, also weighed in on Jupiter, but should we save that for Power Hour tomorrow?
I want to hear about Jupiter now.
What about Jupiter? The gaseous. We did get a couple tweets that it did help clear some things up about the surface.
So if you want to, so Jupiter, so Craig, because you were wondering, like, what do you mean it's like gas solid? Well, I said gas solid. What are you talking about? And then you were like, what do you mean it's like, how does...
They were saying that there's no surface, or the surface is gas. And I was like, well, how is the surface gas if there's a solid core? Wouldn't the surface be on the outside of the solid core?
So Kaylee answered this too. So Jupiter having no surface, it's because of the intense pressure and temperature of the lower atmosphere. It's not just temperature, it's temperature and pressure. The difference between gas and liquid becomes fluky, as is the difference between liquid and solid. So the hydrogen in the atmosphere is compressed into a liquid, but there's no clear boundary when it stops being gas and starts being a liquid, because temperature and pressure both affect that. So it's like, I don't know, it's like slush, I guess. And then closer to the core, the ocean of liquid hydrogen gets compressed even further into a solid. But again, there's no clear point where it stops being a liquid and starts being a solid. And then at the very core of that solid hydrogen, there's a rocky core about the size of Earth, but 30 times denser, that gathered all that hydrogen with its gravity when the solar system was first formed.
Interesting.
Solid hydrogen's a pretty crazy concept.
Yeah. I think I'm a little bit smarter, but not that much smarter after hearing that. I don't know how much. I don't know how much I'll retain. You know, sometimes when like you hear such a complicated response, you're like, I don't even have a question to respond with.
Yeah.
Like I don't have a follow-up question.
I'm going to chew on that for a week.
Yeah, I'm not smart enough to respond. Yeah. Thank you, Kaylee.
It's crazy that the core or whatever that we're talking about is the size of Earth. Like, that's not small.
No.
According to how we feel.
Right.
In the galactic sense, it's extremely small, but
somebody tweeted me basically saying like the Earth has a core, but the Earth's surface is not the surface of the core. It is what we think of as the Earth's surface, which actually helped me.
That's good too.
Yeah. that
I think Brooke was on a higher level than we were at. Brooke was giving us too much. She's a new listener, you know. She's giving us too much credit.
Yeah.
All right. Email ringerfantasyfootball@gmail.com. Thank you for emailing. We have another email here. I think we just save it for Power Hour. We got Power Hour on Wednesdays, and we also
do it live.
We do it live. We got the YouTube on Tuesday nights. Check it out, the Ringer NFL YouTube. And again, emails for ringerfantasyfootball@gmail.com for more trivia. We have fantasyfootball.thereer.com. We have the rankings that come out on Thursdays for our Week 5 rankings. We can help you out there. And that gets updated Sundays. And then again, ringerfantasyfootball@gmail.com. Emails categories on Sundays as you're watching the games. And, you know, you can nominate awards and stuff for the Daily Double on Sundays, trivia for Mondays. And then, fantasy course. Send us your fantasy course for Wednesdays. And if you want to donate to the situation going on with the hurricane, again, it's ncvoad.org. That is in the episode description. But again, it's just a bunch of vetted organizations, and you can pick one of your choosing. But just trying to, little droplets, if you will, micron long droplets to just, alleviate what's going on there. Did I land that, or was that bad?
It's all right.
It wasn't my best. It wasn't
Not
the worst.
bad.
It'll do.
Yeah.
Thank you, DK. Thank you, Craig. Thank you, everyone, for emailing us. Thank you, everyone, for donates. Thank you, Kai, Carlos, for producing this episode.
Kai, plain and dry Grady.
Yeah, there we go.
That's your new nickname. Kai, your Twitter bio, change your Twitter bio to just plain and dry.
All-time moment was when we found out that Kai means food. That was like an all-time moment in the show.
The irony.
Thank you, Lord.
Thank you, Train.
Nice.
Drops of
All
Jupiter.
the drops and Jupiter just come in together. Look at that.
I have to say, Daniel, this is probably some of your best work.
I know. Sometimes it just clicks.
Sometimes it just clicks. Really Train was a real, I was 14 and singing a couple of those songs, or maybe Train was a real, I just got my license and I'm just ripping Drops of Jupiter, windows down.
There's no greater disparity between how much I think I can sing a song and how much I can actually sing a song than Drops of Jupiter.
That sounds
because
right. Yeah.
In my head, I can get all 5 minutes and 20 seconds perfectly, and I should do it at karaoke every time.
Yeah.
And in reality, it's a disaster.
It's such a good song. Calling
It's
All
perfect.
Angels is another banger.
Craig, you gonna sing?
Oh, Drops of Jupiter, dude.
Ugh.
That's tough.
Dude, also just the opening. Dun, dun. Oh, it's
What is it? Acts like summer and she walks like rain. Those are the
Now
Now
lowest.
she's
Time
back
to
in the
change.
atmosphere, something like
Yeah,
that.
Yeah. See, I'm tone deaf. I can't sing, but I know every word.
Who's the lead singer of Train? What's up with that guy? That guy's good.
I actually
Pat
have no
Monahan.
idea.
Good for you, Pat.
Formed in 93?
Why does it say music groups Train and The Doors?
No way.
He's
Oh
only,
my God! Wait, was he in the Doors?
he's only 55.
Wait, I have to tell you guys about the Doors.
Like
You know,
the,
we've
the
been making
band,
fun
The
of the-
Doors? He wasn't
Yes.
in The
No,
Doors.
he's too young.
You know how we've been making fun of the Doors?
He would have been like 10.
He was really good at
He was
singing.
born in 1969. That's when the Doors were like popular.
He was in a Led Zeppelin
Wait, hold
cover
on,
band.
hold on.
That's kind of sick.
We have to shout out. You know, we've been making fun of the name The Doors for like a long time. Of like, oh, that's a boring name.
Right.
Shout out a bunch of people emailed us, but shout out Jonas because I just found your email. But I know other
Jonas.
people do this too. We're saying that like, oh, The Doors, boring name. The
It's
band,
like it's some quote, right?
the band took their name from the title of Aldous Huxley's book, The Doors of Perception, which is itself derived from a line in William Blake's The Marriage of Heaven and Hell. And the quote is, if the doors of perception were cleansed, everything would appear to man as it is, infinite.
Goodness.
And so the
Yeah.
name was The Doors of Perception, but they shortened it to The Doors.
I mean, I don't think we actually were saying they looked at a door and were like, "Hey, let's name our band The Doors." I don't think we were making that contention, but that is interesting.
Yeah. Also, the Doors. The Doors were formed in 1965, 4 years
These
before.
guys are so dumb. They looked at a door, and that was the name of their band.
Goodbye, everyone.